my job is personal training. I was fired. That's how I got started. There's kind of like two things in life that everybody from the richest to the poorest person has to deal with, and that's money and that's their wellness or their health.
So you've set up your business, you have your services, you know how you're working within the personal training environment.
Mm-hmm.
How did you set your pricing? Welcome to Fyght Talk. My name is Christian Young. Welcome to Fyght Talk. My name is Christian Young. Getting to that work. Today, we're going to spend some time with a personal trainer. Actually, my personal trainer, but that's a whole nother story. So I think that today is going to be really interesting because what we'll do is talk about the motivations behind his training. We'll also talk about his journey as he's gone through and grown his business and what his end game is. Being a personal trainer is really kind of like a self-motivated business. You know, you have to understand and know your craft. You have to be very informed about, the newest trends, but then also about, just bodies in general in order to really be someone who can mold them into something that someone would really want or, help to triage an injury or help people work through certain issues when it comes to being a trainer. But then there's also a business aspect behind it that really, I think, is a lot different than people would anticipate. You are the product. You have to keep yourself in tip-top condition in order to be able to provide services, not like perfect body, but I mean healthy enough to be out there with people. And you also have to continue to keep yourself educated. So when we talk to the personal trainer, we'll talk about those things and really kind of dive into some of those aspects that are surprising, but then also some of those aspects that from an entrepreneurial side are different than what you would anticipate. So looking forward to you joining us and talking with a personal trainer and discussing his journey. Today we're here with Dan Chisholm, who is the founder of his own personal training company. And we want to talk a little bit with you about your business. So can you tell us a bit about your business?
Sure. So I am an independent fitness trainer. So I find clients that are interested in working out, and then I take them to my facility where I pay rent with other personal trainers, or I could go to their location and work them out if it's like a home studio or like in a building gym in Chicago.
So how did you get started?
So I was fired. That's how I got started. When I was 18, I got a job at this like recreational complex in the hometown where I was at. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was okay. It was just like literally front desk. And so on my 90 days, they fired me. And so I was like, what? Okay. It totally caught me off guard. And every day there was a trainer that I would like talk shop with. Just, I love to work out, and we'd kind of talk shop. And so a week later, maybe on my parents' door, there was like a brochure for a new gym that was opening up. And so I went and just to like be the front desk person, and that trainer had moved there, and he was in charge of the personal training group. And so he was like, "Oh, I was trying to get a hold of you, but they wouldn't give me your contact information." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So he literally just threw me a clipboard and like, "Go train." And I was like, I thought I knew how to work out stuff, but I was like, okay. So just kind of thrown to the sharks. And that's kind of been the basis of my entire situation, is just go do it, and then bite off more than you can chew, and then chew it.
Okay. So you were 18, you got fired for undisclosed reasons, and you just kind of, it came to you, training. Someone gave you an opportunity. you just started training. Like, how did you work through that? Because typically when I think about personal trainers, and not necessarily just the Instagram personal trainers, I think about like school and like, all the muscle groups and all that other stuff.
Mhm.
So how did you kind of develop all that? Because I know I've worked out with you. I know you kind of know things about the body and how it's supposed to work. So that
Yeah.
didn't just like manifest itself through.
So I think it's like in sort of today's relevance, it's people taking their hobbies and turning them into side hustles,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like my hobby was and is working out, and it was like, oh well, if you love to do that, why not love to work like doing that as your thing? And in my business, that's kind of like a typical way of trainers start is like someone with a lot of hobby or and hobby enthusiast, and then like they get a job and start doing that.
So how did you start like the business side of it? Because we all have seen varying different approaches from people who run companies that involve physical training, but like how did you set up the business side of it, like your licensing, your team, those types of things?
I got like everyone else, I got ripped off.
Okay. What happened?
Yeah, so most trainers are young, stupid people, and that's because they are the easiest to take advantage of, and the ones that are most interested in like the idea of being a trainer. So it's all like I think my first 9 months I averaged it out, and I made that was in 1998. Ugh.
Mhm.
It was like it was made under minimum wage,
Okay.
but I loved every second of it. I loved like it was just like it's like it is now. It just gives me like this like ooh, it just feels good. The thing that allowed me at that time was that I was living with my parents and I didn't have any bills.
Mhm.
So I was kind of just trying to find stuff, and so after you get ripped off enough, sometimes people was either going to quit or start doing my own thing. And so after I left that gym, I was just kind of like floating in the Ethereum, and so I started back then. It was like AOL chat rooms, and I was just like clicking buttons, and I got some people that were interested, and we started doing it. It was like, and I know at the time AOL chat rooms were super advanced and like the most social media forward presence you could have, but like that was kind of I just did it. I had no idea what I was doing, but like, that was the humble beginnings.
Okay. So marketing by AOL.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
Like doing the stuff I was doing
Mhm.
and just adding yourself to it, because there's kind of like two things in life that everybody from the richest to the poorest person has to deal with, and that's money and that's their wellness or their health. So like even Bill Gates can't pay someone to work out for him. So like there's that, I guess that everybody has to do those things, and it'll always be relevant, and people don't want to be worked out by an AI or a machine or like a mirror that shows them doing things, and they want somebody to help them. I think that's a nicer way to do that. It's personal training.
So how did you develop your services? Because I know that you do personal training, but you also do massage. You also do, a
Thai
little bit
massage.
of Thai massage.
Hmm.
I'm saying that because he's walked on my back before. So, and it was Thai massage. I don't know if that was torture or Thai massage, but either way.
Yeah,
Um,
it's both.
but like, how did you determine what your services were going to be, what you were going to specialize in? Like, did that come fairly early in the situation, or was that something that evolved for you?
It was from a financial bloodbath.
Okay. What was that bloodbath about?
The first one was the dot-com bust.
Okay.
That was the first time when like I was doing everything right, and externalities just crushed it. And I was like, oh my God, personal training, you have to have like people typically one to like many times a week to see you, and that costs money each time. And so that's a financial like commitment. And the first thing that during lower times of revenue, people cut out is their trainer or like ancillary services and such like that. So for massage, I wanted a way to like have a service that people could come to me one time and maybe like, if maybe they're visiting from out of town and they could come see me and that would still be good. So it was like a diversification hedge. I'm also a licensed esthetician, and so when I moved to Chicago, I did take a job for like a year at a high-end gym that had a spa in it. And even though I was doing massage and I was kind of multi-departmental, the estheticians did all the fun stuff and all the peels and burning people's faces and such. And so I wanted to learn that. So like it was kind of like just diversification in the spa, because they honestly there's so many cool things that estheticians can do and still related. And a lot of, honestly, I assume a lot of guys don't do anything with their skincare. So I thought it was like there would be good synergies there. And then with Thai massage, so like massage, you basically, two people get in a room, one gets naked on a table, and then the other person rubs them, right? So that is a lot of commitment for a lot of people on a lot of levels. Thai massage is you're on the ground, people are wearing their clothes, and you could do it on a gym floor, because sometimes people will come for the beginning of a session and they're in pain. And like sometimes it was like, I can't do this, so like let's either cancel today or try something else. And so Thai massage is like an amazing tool, because sometimes people will have situations where just something's going on, and you can address that. And like I'm not here to fix people, but like it can help. And like I'm here for the personal side of that. And that's kind of like the diversification strategy. It's like it just it just kind of came up. But if I don't change, like then you're only just in that little like area. And so I wanted to just kind of stay competitive and stay in the business. So that was like motivation. Plus I found there's a lot of tie-ins with each. Once you get good with helping people and like listening to them and hearing what they're saying, those services are not unrelated.
How do you deal with the competition? And I don't mean just additional personal trainers, but you talked a little bit about it before. I remember in COVID, what was it? The mirrors that you can get that you look at and tell you to work out, Peloton machines, and all of that situation when it became popular. The specialist gyms that are, circuit training on 10, all of the things. I remember when the fitness watches came out and everyone wanted to do was do 10,000 steps. Like, how do you stay fresh in that environment when there's constantly another tool, or it could be a gimmick, it could not, a new supplement method, a new workout method, a new thing that, people tend to kind of follow? Because I've noted that in most businesses, customers are attracted to what's hot.
Yeah. My comment to that is those aren't my competition. Those increase it. Like I work with all those things. So like I have clients that have extra activity monitors. I'm wearing my Apple Watch here. So like that, I have clients that do small group boutique gyms, and they come see me. I have clients that are in regular gyms. I have clients that play sports, which is like activity, right? So like I have like all those things I work with, and like I'm compatible with all those things.
Okay.
And like even the bozo things thought up in boardrooms with no consideration of efficacy, I still work with them because maybe they do turn out to be a good idea, and then we'll work with it. So like there's nothing really that like, even if they had, I don't know, maybe an online trainer or something, or like it's all compatible. It's all compatible. Like it is the field of wellness. I want people to like, if if some device came out and made them more aware of their fitness and health, bring it. Like, let's use it. I'll help you use it. I'll help you program it. I'll do whatever. Like, I want them to be successful, even if it means, and part of the situation too is understanding that all my customers, all my clients and friends, everything's temporary, right? So I will always have new people, and realizing that, like, part of this is like the time that I have with people, I want it to be as good for them and me as possible. And I want it to be sticky. I have people that move away, or they get married and they go to the suburbs, or whatever. So maybe they can't afford it for a while. Maybe they can't anything, or they want to try something else. Great. I'm here if you want to come back. And if you don't come back, I want you to say, "Oh, we had a nice time and I learned something, or I did something." Like, that's the beauty of it. I'm not here to, like, get one client for the rest of my life and have that. I'm like, it's fine. I want to help them on their journey.
Okay, so you've set up your business, you have your services, you know how you're working within the physical or personal training environment.
Mm-hmm.
How did you set your pricing?
So I didn't go to business school. I don't, and I love reading. I'm a finance whore. I love reading Bloomberg. I dream of The Economist. Like, it's not like, so I guess that maybe this is my dumbest thing, but I like money. I just don't care, like, that much about, I don't want to be a kingmaker or have an empire, or, like, I just want to have enough money to live. Like, I grew up in a working class family in St. Louis, and we had enough stuff. And would I like to do all those things? Yes. And have all the money. But, like, I've also trained 100 millionaires. And what I can tell you is they're just as miserable fucks as everybody else, right? They're like, money literally does not make you happy. And I've personally seen that. And maybe a client lives like 20 minutes from me, and I'm like, and they're in a $5 million house, right? And I'm in a way, way, way cheaper condo. But, like, that doesn't make me, I don't know, it doesn't, I want money, please give me money. But, like, I just don't, like, I don't care. So I probably should raise my rates, but, like, as long as I can pay my bills, like, I don't know, when I have retirement stuff, and, like, all right, it's okay. So I don't know how to answer that, but I'm sure it could be better. I just don't care.
Did you?
Much.
Well, you don't care. I mean, which
yeah.
I think is a novelty, and it's actually, well, it's a novelty in some ways, but it's not uncommon, because when you think about the concept of entrepreneurship, a lot of people are under the misconception that every entrepreneur wants to be a billionaire. Yeah. Like, that is the goal. I start my own business so that I can build this mountain of money and jump off of it like Scrooge McDuck. And that is what I want to do. When in all actuality, there are people who just want to pay their bills. They just want to be comfortable. They just want to be able to not work for someone else. They just want to be able to do the things that they love. But I think that when you're thinking about your pricing, did you consider the base minimum of what you needed to survive? Was there a thought towards a safety plan? Are you funding your economist subscription? I'm not about to yell at you.
Yeah, I know.
I'll do that later. No, I'm just kidding.
So my comment to that is, there's 3 ways to make more money, right? Mm-hmm. The first way is to make more money. The second way is to pay less taxes. And the third way is to cut expenses. So I think I do all those enough to maintain the lifestyle that I have, which is fine. And, like, I live in a major metropolitan area. I save maybe 10 or 15% of my gross. And, like, this is from Shein. My partner got this for me, and it's like probably $10. And, I got these pants from Lulu, like, probably 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. It's just like, stuff doesn't make, like, there's no holes in this, but, like, I just don't, I don't have any stuff on. Like, yeah.
Okay. No, I can understand that. And I think that but one of the things that you pointed out was you pay the least amount of taxes you can.
Well,
You
I
make
mean,
sure
with an
you say
accountant.
with an
Legally,
accountant.
yeah.
So, well,
Not legal
that's
advice.
quality. If it was illegal, I'd be like, we need to edit this part out.
Get 'em, guys.
But I think that part is really something that's important that I like to focus on. What does your financial team look like?
So, the person I'm most likely to take out to dinner multiple times a year is my accountant, and he answers my call when I call, and we keep the structure is very simple. So I'm an LLC, and basically I pay rent. I don't have any equipment and leases, and a couple that really the number one thing that I found was during COVID when the gym that I pay rent to train there, like the government just tells them to shut down and work it out with your landlord. And so that's like the major thing. And then other things is like toilets back up, things break, and like that's sad. And I say, oh my gosh, I hope you guys fix that by tomorrow. Like, and I just leave. So I think it's really nice to have a simple situation for me. And I know that if and I investigated having my own facility and looking at leases, but one of the like most stereotypical things of a trainer is the good ones get a lot of business, and then they tell themselves that if they just had a facility, then they can make more money, and then they could have trainers working for them. And like 95% of the trainers that I have worked with, and that has been hundreds in Chicago, the ones that do that fail miserably because facilities management is completely different, and negotiating leases is completely different than, hey, let's do a workout today and let's do that. Like, I want to keep my strengths to what I'm most passionate about, and like I don't want to negotiate leases. That doesn't touch, move, and inspire me. That makes me feel anxious and crazy.
Okay. So then you love your accountant, I see.
Yes. Always love your accountant.
Who else is on your team? Do you have like a lot of businesses, even though they're fronted and kind of powered by that one person, you also would have maybe some support facilities behind you. Like,
totally.
Who else is supporting you? What other vendors do you have that kind of make Dan?
Yeah. So my first comment is my family loves me. And again, that work hard, normal, the American dream family. Like they both work, they both do their thing. They love me, but they didn't know anything about just regular stuff. So I didn't have any coaching from my family, though they love me. What I did have and what I do have is the smartest people of industries happen to be my customers. Like let's say mid-level managers and higher, owners of businesses and such, from like typically say 30 to 80 years old. And they've done stuff. Like I'm just saying, like financially, like they may not be the whatever, but I literally have mentors who care about me and care about my success. A, because like we're friends. B, because like that helps me stay in business too. So every hour I get advice about, not like everyday guarantee, but like I get access to attorneys, doctors, small business people that have helped me so much. So my team is my customers. Like the best things I've ever done was from their influence. And like, I am an open book. I only know, I'm a total bozo about everything else, but I do know about wellness and exercise science. Everything else is 100% for my customers and like just helping me. Like one of my major landlord clients when I was 22 was like just talking about, I have to buy a place. It was right before oh yeah, I forgot the Great Recession. Yeah, the Great Recession was another one of those things. But that got me into my place. And like, just like the insistence of people that had positive regard for me and to see me successful. And like, I mean, every day I get great advice, and I take that because that's the personal part of the personal training. It's not, fortunately, it's not just one way. It is reciprocal.
And customers.
Yeah.
So I've given you a hard time about this several times. Well, I've given you a hard time about a lot of things, but I've given you a hard time about I've given you a hard time about this a few times, but you are not the social media personal trainer.
Right.
You were not on there making egg sandwiches and saying this is what I had for breakfast and walking around with no shirt or, you know, showing all the different exercises and how you do push-ups with one hand and all those things.
Sure. And that's purposeful too.
So what is your strategy towards marketing?
So I'm the youngest of Gen X. So I'm 45. And when I was, I guess, 16, 17, 18, that's when AOL chat rooms were like I said, the most technologically advanced social media stuff.
I'm going to pause you for a second. So AOL, for people who are not aware, was dial-up back when we all used to have house phones, and it made a lot of noise, and you couldn't take personal calls at your house for at least 3 hours.
Someone's on the
because
phone.
You were on there.
Yeah.
Just with the world's slowest internet. Think like
56K.
2 minutes to load up a page.
Yeah, at least.
Okay.
At least.
Okay.
My job is personal training. I support wellness ideas and fitness concepts, and I live it in the way that I choose. But there has to be part of me that I'm not working all the time. Like I don't know stuff, but like the times I've looked at or read things about like, oh well, to get engagement, to get people that don't know me, that don't care about me, somewhere in the world to click on buttons that tells me that I'm liked more or not liked. I have to have. I'm just throwing this out, but it's definitely wrong. 10 videos, 10 tweets, 10 things a day, and you have to do your scheduling of when you're posting and this and that. And I find that completely distracting because that isn't the point at all. The point isn't about me. The point isn't about what I eat. The point isn't about, and also, by the way, everyone's prettier when they're younger. That's why the trainers typically tend to skew younger. And sure, shirtless is great. Showing your ass and showing your all this, that's really good to show people that stuff, but that has nothing to do with them. The point of personal training is personal. It's for them. It's not about me. It shouldn't be about me. And like how many push-ups I do has no relationship to if they're coming in with a rotator cuff injury from 20 years ago that affects them when they're pulling their suitcase in the airport. That's not like it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. It's their journey, not mine. Like I want I don't know. They could be vegetarian. They could be gluten intolerant, and like it doesn't matter. Like I want to help them come to conclusions, or not if they don't want that about stuff, or maybe just be active. Most people, I mean, statistics definitely show most people this country is overweight, and like we need to get people more active. So like I also feel like personally too, social media is a really effective way of making everyone feel like a piece of shit and like feeling bad about themselves. I don't want to do that. I want to engage them where they want to be met. If they've never worked out, if they want to work out, whatever, like once and not feel ashamed or not feel embarrassed, I want that. And like, so I'm glad those people are out there. There will always be someone to worship and like, oh, this is the newest, smartest person. But anyone who's actually studied stuff knows that's not how things get done. Like that's like the best practices aren't from, Tammy and doing something that she designed in her yoga studio. It's like science that's like, that's brought, that's kind of built one level to another. And like, that's what I want to do. So that's my comment with social media. The second thing is, small businesses are kind of like, my small business is kind of like, you want to have referrals, you want to have lead generation. And so that's kind of where I guess, I don't know, I mean, it's social media-ish, but I use companies that say, hey, I'm looking for training. And then you basically like pay for the ability to be shown up on a website. So like, yeah, I mean, I guess every profession sort of has that now, but like there's different sites that like show different stuff. And that's my main source. But like in Chicago, I've lived here for almost 20 years. So also I've got 20 years of customers that will come back, and like maybe I trained one person one time and then they had to move or something, or some story. And then, but we had a nice time, maybe one time, maybe two times, maybe 10 times. And then they give my number to somebody else. And again, there's a stickiness to it because I'm not high selling. I'm a business and I have to make money, but like, I'm not here to just like take as much money and sell this and sell some wackadoodle supplements and magical bracelets and stuff. Like I want to be treated like, I want to treat people like I want to be treated. And that's like authentically, and like someone that cares about me and my goals and my injuries, or, just like where I'm coming from, because most people in my world are just busy. They're just so busy. Their main job, their family, their side hustles, their interests, their hobbies, they don't have time to keep up with stuff. And it's just hard. And I want to just make their life a little less hard and have less pain and have a little more muscle and a little less fat, and like do that.
So here's one. I was just thinking through this.
Oh, shit.
Customers.
Yes.
Customer service is a large part of your business.
Yes.
Like it's actually the business.
Yes.
How do you deal, because working out is a personal thing, everyone gets at it in different ways. I would say like one of the things I used to laugh about with my dad was that like he would go to the gym like once every 6 months and then work out like he was still 22, injure himself, and then like not go back until he re-healed.
Sure.
But how do you deal with the variances in personalities with your customers? And what do you do when you have a customer that may not necessarily be a good fit?
I'm not right for everybody. I try to be, but I think in all my years, like a handful of people, we've had like a caustic, where it's just like, whatever reasons, like it just didn't work out. And those people so I guess, let me back up. So my first comment is the classic way for training is one is this price, two is, multiple is this price, and if you buy this many is cheaper. I hate that. That's like, imagine going on a date, right? And you have to commit to so many dates before you go on the first date, or they give you a trial date and then you have to commit to 10. I just like, God, that sucks so fucking so bad. So bad. So like, if someone doesn't want to be with me, I don't want to, like, I get it. I'm not right. So like, please, like, you don't have to be. So I do like basic, just pay me when you leave. Like, because I don't need the money that bad. Like, I don't care. Like, there'll be somebody else for us, for them and for me. So for personalities, it's important for me to always sort of be fluid with, and remember that like, it's not about, it's about me, it's about them. So I won't like, I've learned to sort of be like, okay, well, I don't have to agree with them. I want them to be better. And like, we don't have to talk about politics, or we can, or we don't have to talk about anything. We could just do workouts and that's fine. And like, I guess just like identifying and most importantly, just listen. They tell you exactly what they want. If like some people don't want this or that, like believe them, and they will. They'll tell you what they want. Just listen. Like they don't have to do anything for me. Like I want them to be active, and I will extend my hand out to as far as I can, and if they want to do that, it's great. And then if they don't, they're welcome to take off, because again, all relationships are temporary, and I just want that. I want it to be good while we have it, while we're there.
So then when you think about just the whole business side, on top of, you're doing something that you love, you seem to have some level of success at it, even though you don't want to make any money.
I want to make money.
I want to make money, but you don't want to make money, but you do want to make money, which I can understand.
I have a car. Yeah.
I mean, I can fully understand that. It's running the way in which you would prefer.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit earlier about, what happens, or actually I mentioned it earlier when we talked about like succession and growth and kind of where you are with that.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when Dan gets sick?
He doesn't go to work.
Okay.
And so that is obviously a major situation. Life happens. So I guess like on the financial side, I have disability insurance, which I hope to never use. And there's no good answer. I've been lucky. I haven't been in a car accident. I haven't been in a bad thing. Yeah. So that succession, like when I'm done, it just is over. And I would, if I just said I don't want to do this tomorrow, then I would just do that, and I would try to help my people find somebody else. But I know it's bad, but I don't want to grow. Like I don't want to grow. I don't want to get busier, and I don't want to get less busy. And I don't want a facility. I don't want people. I just want to I like my people too much. I don't want someone else to train them. I don't want they're mine.
So it's enough.
I want monogamy, or
yeah. It's enough.
I want personal train monogamy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just it's enough. It's great. And it's really rewarding. I've had the fortune to train people that have come from the families that have taught them everything, given them money, given them the best college, given them the best opportunities for everything. And that does not guarantee happiness. I'm 100%. I've seen that over and over and over. And I'm happy. And I get up early, and with my partner now, I last year stopped working Sundays. So that was my big cutting down work a little bit. But I like working up until so was it 28 years? I worked every day, and I love that. And yeah.
Okay. No, I think that's when I'm
happy.
If you're happy, then I think that's what makes the most sense. If you're happy, your bills are paid, you have all of the things necessary, food, water, shelter, all the things necessary in which to, get by in the manner in which you would like to be accustomed to, then I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. But I do wonder how much pressure you get from other people to turn your business into what they would traditionally expect.
I don't think they want that either. I mean, at least my clients, because they are there to work out, and they chose me. And I think they would be more sad than happy if I didn't see them as much, because then they wouldn't get what they were looking for. So yeah, it's not I don't think so they really haven't told me, oh, you should get more people so we see you less. But I honestly don't feel any pressure. It's amazing. And my people that do sales, they're always stressed out about what's your pipeline? What's your quarterly? What's your year over year? What's your, it's that just creeps me out. This insistent pressure on growth, which every every person has a fiduciary to do their blah blah blah, shareholders. But like, I just like, I think it's okay to like, I am not stressed out, and I don't like, I'm not. It just feels great. So like, I guess the trade is, you can have like the more money, more problems, and like I just don't want those problems.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. And then so last question before I ask you to give out your socials, which I'm always interested to hear.
Find me on AOL chat rooms.
If there was one thing that you would be able to change about your business as it is today, with, if it was just a click of the fingers, this is change, what would you do?
I wish my gym would maybe close at like 4 p.m. Then I would stop working after 4. Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't wish that. I don't wish that. But like, I guess.
You can't take back your wish now. It's out there. It's done.
Shoot.
No, but thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thanks for having me.
It's always interesting to hear how different businesses function and understanding the things that make you happy and provide balance for yourself.
Yeah.
So appreciate your time today, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks, you.
So good afternoon, or hello. Skip out the good afternoon. That wasn't it. All right, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
All righty. You're done.
Great.